The narrative that Steve Borthwick is trying to spin around England is that they are a young team developing. So I did the numbers because that's what I do. England's team was on average a year older than their Welsh counterparts. That's median, by the way. They had on average 20% more elite club games than the Welsh players that they were facing. And they had about twice the number of international caps than the Welsh players they were facing on average. It's not true. They're not a young team. Like, look at the spine that they've got. Jamie George, Ben Earl, okay, is relatively new-ish, I suppose. Alex Mitchell hasn't got that many England caps, but he's got a boatload of Northampton caps. He's not a kid. George Ford, not a young player. Then you got someone like Freddie Stewart at 15, who again has been around for a couple of seasons now, getting loads of game time. And then you got people like Elliot Daly around him. Henry Slade is an extremely experienced player. Then you got people like Joe Marler, Dan Cole, Danny Kerr to come off the bench. It's not a young team. It's not. And the injury news this week has been that Ollie Lawrence and Marani Tuolangi might be back available. If they come in, if Dingwall is straight out and one of those two comes back in at 12, it's not a new team. It's not a refresh team. People are desperate to spin the narrative that England are evolving and they're adding to their attack. They're not. If you look at the stats of how they play, their game plan is still very much without the ball. They kick it away and they let you come at them and they back their defence. Now, it's getting them results, so you can't complain. If I was an England fan, I'd be like, yeah, we won. What are you going to do? And if people want to take this as me being bitter, then fair enough. But they're not evolving, in my opinion. Again, like your point about the Aviva, the Twickenham in the first half, I was like, can someone tell the crowd that the game has started? Like, of course, they started singing Swing Low eventually, and I wish they'd gone back to being silent, but they're not an attacking side. And if you look at how Steve Borthwick played when he was coach of Leicester, they weren't an attacking side either. That's not how they played. This is England. What we're seeing now, what we've seen in the World Cup, this is Steve Borthwick's England. This is what they're always going to be like, in my opinion. Like I said, the disparity, they've played Italy and Wales first up with the two weakest teams in the Six Nations. And they've won those games by a total of, 5 points? Less, maybe? Again, if you look at, I think it was Simon Gleave did his, what do you call it? The handicap, the bookies handicap. And how teams are comparing, and England are underperforming their handicap against the two weakest teams in the Six Nations by 21 points so far. Now, if you look at expected points, we spoke about it last week. According to expected points, England should have scored 30 points in this game. They scored 16. Like, so for me, this is just England. I don't know. I've gone on a bit there, mate. What's your thoughts on England? Am I being harsh? Is there a project here that I'm just not seeing? Do I just not get it?
I see them trying to throw a few more passes, create phases, and make some nice plays. But I think we've seen example after example in the opening two rounds that they kind of run out of options, and their go-to is just to make a little chip through or try to gain territory that maybe wasn't really on. Maybe they shouldn't have held it or tried something a little bit more ambitious. But I think you're right. Like this is how Borthwick wants his team to play. They're not going to play like Ireland ever, I don't think. And I think you made a good point on the players. If a Lions squad, if we were to pick a Lions squad or a Lions starting 15 today, how many English players will be in that team? I don't know if there'd be any. Just maybe one final point in this game. For me, it is frustrating the way teams like England are essentially just have an extra set piece now at ruck time where they fire about 6, 7, 8 forwards into the ruck. The opposition don't compete, and you see some players literally on their knees, and you see these caterpillars, and the refs giving them 9. Like at one stage, the ref called use it, and Alex Mitchell was literally given 9 seconds. They do slow the game down again. I don't mind kicking, but it's just like seeing scrum halves been given like time to even stick their hand in the ruck, just to tap the ball a little bit, then get their left foot, then get their right foot in, and set up
it's a clear tactic from England, and this is why I say that this is Steve Borthwick's England. They put the result first, performance second. And like I say, if you're winning, fine. And if I was an England fan, God forbid, I'd be like, cool, we won. But like it's in that second half, especially in the second quarter, England killed the game by going slow. And if you look at the scrums, I don't know if anybody else saw this. The referee would shout crouch, and Wales would crouch, and then it would be literally like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then England would crouch. And we don't do ref chat, but for me, it was on the referees to say, "Speed up, lads!" Like the second or third time that they did, like when I say crouch, please. And so it was a tactic from England. You can call it shithousery. It wasn't illegal. They didn't do anything illegal. But then again, this is England. And I think this is what they're going to be while Steve Borthwick is in charge.